Hello, this video is designed to provide faculty with a guide of how to set up quizzes or exams to be proctored by Remote Proctor Now, a third-party service Gordon State College has partnered with for exam monitoring. This monitoring service works via an integration into Brightspace by D2L. It can monitor exams that are native to D2L as well as web-based exams not hosted in D2L, such as those in other learning management systems. How does Remote Proctor Now monitor students' exams? The process for this program is that the student completes the exam as normal. During the exam, however, the screen, the student, and the audio are recorded. There is not a live proctor connected to the student. A video is made of the exam. For this reason, the student does not have to make an appointment with the proctor. They can take the exam anytime it is open in the LMS. The video is then recorded and reviewed by Remote Proctor Now reviewers. They can access the video within the LMS integration, so the faculty member doesn't need to take any special action for them to gain access. If there are rule violations or suspicious activity during the exam, it will be marked and flagged by the reviewers. The faculty member will then be able to review all videos, including those with flags, within the RP Now integration within D2L. Note that since a video is being recorded and there isn't a live proctor at the time of the exam is not stopped if the student violates any rules. With Remote Proctor Now, the student will need a webcam as well as functioning speakers. The student will need to be in a quiet room without other individuals present. The way the Remote Proctor Now or RP Now works is that it records the students as they take the exam. The student's audio is recorded, so anything that is said during the exam will be on the recording. The student's webcam is recorded, so the reviewer is able to see where the student is at all times. The student's computer screen is also recorded so that the reviewer is able to see what the student opened or navigated to during the exam. The student does have to download a special software to allow for the recording, so the student will have to use a Windows or Mac desktop or laptop. They cannot use a tablet, phone, or a Chromebook. To begin, the faculty member will need to set up the exam in D2L or the other LMS as normal. Make sure to include the questions and connect it to a D2L grade item. For D2L, this is under the Assessment tab. There are a few other components that the exam must have in order to be connected to RP Now. The exam must have a password. The faculty member will not give the student the password because RP Now will auto-authenticate the password in, and the student will never see it. The exam must also be active and have a start and end date. These features are located under the Restrictions tab. After setting up the exam, the faculty member will need to connect the exam to Remote Proctor Now. The first step will be to set up an exam profile, especially if the faculty member is allowing more than just a closed book exam. To access the RP Now integration, the faculty member will need to navigate to their course in D2L and choose Tools and Resources from the nav bar. Choose Register Remote Proctor Now Exams. Only faculty members can see this access. To set up a new profile, choose the Exam Rule Profile drop-down and select Create a New Profile. The default profile will be a closed book without any resources, but the faculty member can set up other ones and use them if necessary. Give the profile a name, such as Word and Websites Allowed. Select any applications that will be allowed to be opened during the exam. If you do not allow for any applications, then RP Now will give the student a notice that it isn't allowed and prevent them from opening the program. Next, select if all websites and browsers are allowed or if only certain websites are allowed. If specific websites are allowed, you will need to list them in the text box. RP Now will not block them from going to other websites, but it will flag it in the report as a suspicious activity. You can also select if any reference materials are allowed. The student will be asked to do a room scan before the exam, and if these items are present but not allowed, the video will be flagged. You can also note if others are allowed in the room or if the student is allowed to leave the room during break. Both of these are not encouraged. You can also list any special instructions. This would be a great place to list if a specific student gets special accommodations, such as getting extra time on the exam, bathroom breaks, etc. Now choose to create the profile. You will only need to create this specific profile once, and you can associate it to different exams. After the exam profile has been created, the faculty member will now need to associate the exam to Remote Proctor Now. The faculty member will need to open the integration from within D2L using the Tool Resources link on the nav bar. They will then choose to Register New Exam. If the exam is housed within D2L, they should choose Native LMS Exam. If the exam is in another LMS, such as a textbook company's program, they will need to choose Third Party Exam. Next, the faculty member will need to choose Proctored Exam. Note, it is highly encouraged that the instructor create a practice exam in D2L with just a few questions and register with the RP Now as a practice exam. This will allow the students to take the practice exam to make sure their technology works before beginning the real exam. They are not charged for a practice exam. The practice exams videos, however, are not reviewed by the RPI Now team. Again, they are just used to make sure the technology works, but are highly encouraged. After selecting Proctored Exam, the faculty member will need to choose the exam that has been established in D2L. They will then need to input how long the student has to take the exam once they've opened it, such as 30 minutes, 60 minutes, etc. Note that this is just informational for RP Now. You want to make sure to set up the time in D2L because that is where the exam tracking is taking place. The faculty member will need to provide a suggested number of students who will take the exam. Next, the faculty should select the exam role profile. Closed book is the default, but you have created another profile that applies, the instructor can set it that way. In addition, the instructor can manually set availability dates if the exam open dates need to be different than the ones in D2L. This is probably more of an exception. The faculty member will then be able to see any exams that have been registered with RP Now. Edits can be made by selecting the yellow icon to the right. Make sure to sync the exam if any changes are made in D2L or RP Now after the initial connection has occurred. At this point, the exam is connected to RP Now and ready for students to complete.